Well, you said it's my kind. But I'm supposed to meet with
Yeah. Well. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. 9:02 a.m. Bill Slaymaker,
Sir,
you're up.
thank you. Let us all pray together. Father, thank you for the freedoms that we enjoy in our country and this county. Father, I pray a very special blessing on this commissioner's court. I pray for favor for their families. I pray for favor for this county. And I pray in Jesus' name that you'll bless the peace of Jerusalem this day. And we give you praise for who you are in our lives, and we do thank you for Jesus. In his name we do pray. Amen and amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill
Thank
Moore.
you.
Thank you.
Citizens' comments. I'm not aware of anyone who signed up.
I ain't heard any gunfire.
No one has signed up. Approval of the agenda minutes from the previous meeting on September the 30th of 2024. Has everybody had a chance to look those over?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented by the clerk.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those as prepared. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There is none. Treasurer and auditors reports.
Judge, we have investment reports for first and second quarter, if it'll be all right,
I think that'll be appropriate.
in the treasury report. And David will present them. David Beckco.
Good morning.
Morning, everyone.
Thank you.
I got it.
Good morning, everyone. In accordance with Government Code Chapter 2256.023, the investment committee is required to report the investments to y'all. What I have before you is for the first and second quarter of 2024. Currently, all of our investments are with our depository bank and either CDs or checking accounts. Interest rates are still decent, but of course, they're nowhere near as good as they were a couple of years ago. But we are still gaining quite a bit of good money. Currently, for the end of the first quarter, we ended with 165,467 interest in the CDs. And at the end of the second quarter, we had 186,477.04. Not shown on the reports is the money that we make for the checking accounts. We're actually getting some decent interest rates on there. We're averaging about 40 to 43,000 quarter in money from the checking account as well. If y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be glad to answer what I can or get answers to what I don't.
I don't have any questions. Anybody else have questions? Well, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
And then I've got the two forms for everyone to sign if it is so approved.
You waiting for a motion?
Yes. So I can leave it at that. You can go ahead and make a motion.
I would make a motion we approve the first and second quarters of investment report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the investment report for the first quarter of 2024 and the second quarter of 2024. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There is none. Thank you very much for your presentation. Next on the agenda is burn ban. Take appropriate action and if it's needed. Everybody okay?
I'm fine with it staying on.
I am
Okay.
too for the moment.
Good. We will pass that. No employee changes this week. Resolutions and presentations. First up is Brown County 4-H proclamation to declare the week of October 7th National 4-H Week. We have a number of visitors this morning. Do you,
And I've got a vet that who's gonna cut my hair first.
good morning.
Good morning, how
Have
are
you
y'all?
seen him lately?
Do you, somebody want to introduce us or y'all want to just tell us your names?
Yes. Yes, sir, we just wanted to come and say thank y'all so much for all of y'all's support for the Brown County 4-H. It wouldn't be possible without y'all. And we have a couple members from the Brown County 4-H Council. I'm Kate Smith and I'm the reporter.
I'm Kira Neal, I'm the youth leader.
I'm Karen Medina and I'm the parliamentarian.
I'm Michaela Hollins and I'm the secretary.
Good. Thank you for being with us today. And you brought some people with you. We all know them. You don't have to introduce yourself. We know you. And then a tray of goodies that are all for just the commissioners. Well, do you want me to read the proclamation? All right. Whereas the Brown County Commissioners Court is proud to honor the Texas 4-H Youth Development Program of the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service for 116 years of providing experience-based education to youth throughout the Lone Star State. Whereas this admirable program, which seeks to provide a learning experience for all youth through the head, heart, hands, and health, helps young Texans to acquire knowledge, develop life skills, form attitudes to enable them to become self-centered, productive, and contributing members of our society. Whereas the program's more than 550,000 urban, suburban, and rural youth participants, ranging in age from 8 to 18, come from diverse ethnic and socioeconomic backgrounds and truly represent a cross-section of the state. Whereas the program undoubtedly could not have achieved the success that it has today were it not for the service of its more than 30,000 volunteers who have given generously of their time, talents, energies, and resources to the youth of Texas. And whereas throughout its proud history, the 4-H program has developed positive role models for countless Texans throughout its innovative and inspiring programs and continues to build character and instill the values that have made our state strong. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Brown County Commissioners Court hereby designates October 6th through the 12th, 2024 as National 4-H Week in Texas, and commend the 4-H Youth Development Program of the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service and the many men and women who have made the program a success. And it will be signed by the 4 commissioners and the county judge. Congratulations. You want to start?
I move we approve this resolution, Judge.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution proclaiming the week of October the 7th through the 12th as National 4-H Week. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There is none. It shall be so proclaimed, I guess. Is that how you say that? All right, congratulations. And if y'all want to come behind us and take that. Yes. Wait till he gets his.
Tell Larry you wanted to look up and smile. I was like, they don't smile.
They don't smile. Do y'all want to, y'all got it? All right, perfect.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much, ladies, for being here. Do y'all not let guys travel with you?
You want to set it here? I mean, it goes upstairs usually, but I won't uncover it, I promise. Thank you.
What schools do y'all go to?
Oh, yeah.
What schools?
Brownwood High School.
Brownwood.
Okay, all Brownwood. Well, good. Do you have to go back to school now, or do you off for the day?
Sadly, yes.
Oh. All right, well, thank you for being with us. Y'all-
loaded state fair right
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
It's a busy time. Thank you. Thank you. The Ark. Good morning, how are you?
I'm Brenda Butler. I'm a social advocate for the ARC, but today I'm here to present a proclamation to declare domestic violence, October domestic violence. And also, like one ballot requires that, we're having a candlelight vigil on the 17th.
Okay,
Where we honor those in our community who have lost a lot to domestic violence.
okay. Let me see that and I'll read that so that it'll be on the. Let's see.
Oh, that's cities.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
that's
there we
city
go.
Brownwood.
So first things first, whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy and dignity, security, and humanity due to systemic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and/or abuse, including abuse to children and the elderly. Whereas the problems of domestic violence are not confined to any group or groups of people, but cut across all economic, racial, and societal boundaries and are supported by societal indifferences. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting individuals and societies as a whole, here in this community, throughout the United States and in the world. And whereas it is survivors of domestic violence themselves who have been in the forefront of efforts to bring peace and equality to the home. Now, therefore, in recognition of the important work done by the ARC Domestic Violence Shelter Incorporated, I do hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Brown County and urge all citizens to actively participate in the scheduled activities and programs to work toward improving victim safety and holding perpetrators of domestic abuse accountable for their actions against individual victims and societies as a whole. Proclaim this I'm assuming y'all got a vote from it, 7th day of October, 2024. So I'll entertain a motion to approve this proclamation.
I make a motion, we approve this proclamation.
Second, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the proclamation naming October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There is none. And so in accordance with, and y'all can sign this, part of the programs that's referred to is a candlelight vigil that will be held on October the 17th. What day of the week is that? Thursday, yeah. Thursday, October the 17th, from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Grace Chapel at Howard Payne. And it'll be an event to honor the victims of domestic violence and their families, and celebrate the successes of survivors and announce the community's commitment to ending domestic violence. And then also, I know on Friday, y'all set up the table, the display.
Also,
It's like kids. There's a table, if y'all notice, down the hall, just before you go in the county clerk's office, is a table with a remembrance of the victims of domestic violence. It's a display of shoes representing those that have lost their lives to domestic violence in Brown County. Does anybody have anything to add or?
I don't want to add to that.
Okay. All right. Well, we thank you very much for being here today.
Did you put up the little, what are they called?
Pinwheels?
Pinwheels on the yard yet?
We haven't done that. I can present that to our-
Yeah, see what they, but feel free to if y'all,
Yes.
yeah.
That would be nice, thank you so
I
much.
mean, that's, they normally do that.
Yeah, they do that every year. Yeah.
I was told to get a picture, but I don't have a camera.
He'll take one. Brownwood News will take one.
Got it.
Okay, I'll stand there.
Whatever you want to do.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Public hearings, there are none. Business to be discussed and considered for approval. First up is county surveyor. Update on rural cemeteries.
You call me.
Yes, you're up.
I'm getting part of here too, guys. Y'all have to excuse the hardware. It's kind of my doctor's idea, not mine.
Well, if you didn't have it, you couldn't breathe. So I guess that's kind of important.
24 has not been very good. Let's see if I can keep all this stuff straight. Yeah. Just keep this straight here. Y'all been doing all right?
Thank you, sir. How you doing?
Well, I give you two.
No, I was gonna give her one.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay. What you're looking at first, Dale, I get contacted an awful lot as a land surveyor and as a county surveyor about cemeteries. Now cemeteries, excuse me, I have to use that and just get that here. Cemeteries are handled in relative custody. In 1983, 82, 83, and 84. The state addressed it cemeteries. And they, bottom line, they passed a non-funded mandate for cemeteries to file their plots. So, of course, we don't have room for that. And most cemeteries didn't want to go through the expense. And of course, new sections fall under the guidelines of the survey. But this first one you're looking at is the Lost Creek. They came to me and I'm sorry, I'm bad about names, but anyway, he drew this thing up and he's a retired engineer. And he's very qualified.
Where is Lost Creek?
Huh?
Where is Lost Creek?
Oh, right before you get to May, you take a left out there.
Lost Creek is on 411 out west of May, several miles.
Okay.
If you're saying Lost Creek. Okay.
Yeah.
Which I know, this is showing me 279 here.
No, I think it's this page.
Oh, that page.
This
So
that's
anyway,
right.
that's it.
Yeah.
So he came to me and so I reproduced it for him. He was looking and I told him, well, we need to figure out some kind of system here. And to meet the mandate, and Sharon and I talked about it, about creating a plat book I want to call it plat number 7. Want to authorize her to purchase an 11/17 book. So these cemeteries can come in, and she said she'd do it free of charge, and I'll do it up to a point free of charge, just like this. I'll reproduce multiple copies for them. And, so they'll have a place to put these. Now, what's gonna happen is you'll have, the reason I say 11/17, you'll have some that'll fit in that book, and we got next size up is 18/24, next size up is 24/36. That has to take multiple pages. But like Jordan Springs, they have them, and what's happening with time, all of us, the older we get, that data seems to go away. And that's where the state and this non-funded mandate requiring them to do this, but because it's not funded. And I'll be honest with you, we're gonna be one of the first few counties that do this. And I've talked to many a surveyor about this, and yes, there's gonna be some stuff brought in and put in. And it won't necessarily cause a train wreck, but some of it might cause some confusion, but a little data is better than none. So that's the first part of that cemetery.
And so you're just talking about having some mechanism to record cemetery so people could come to the courthouse and look.
Yes, sir. That way they'll have access, here's our plots. Of course, we'll make copies for them, whatever we gotta do.
So what's, I don't even know what a plat book looks like. It's different, a plat book is different than a plat cabinet, obviously.
Well, the cabinets are in slides, and they're 18/24, or if you got 24/36, they got two sides.
Right.
But 11/17, there'll be some stuff, 8.5, 14 will fit in there. And some will be 11/17. And I won't call it a plat because there's some stuff happening in the future that we're gonna need some 11/17 plats. And I'll get into that here in a minute.
Do you know how much a plat book costs?
I have no idea. Could be over $300-400.
And so and I'm assuming it'll be, some way it'll be indexed by, I guess, volume and page, or do you know how you index it?
Yeah, you'll have and I don't know how big, I don't even know how many pages, but I'm guessing that what I've seen some other books in other counties, they have up to 200 pages. So,
And do they have like sleeves that you slide?
well, they're plastic sleeves, and you just slide them in, kind of like the cabinets are right now, but it'd be, smaller size.
Like the books she has in there now,
Sir?
like the plat books that are in there now, or the volume books, or
Yeah,
what are
but
those called?
well, those are, I don't know what they're called, but, it'll be the plastic sleeves that are in the plat cabinets?
Yes.
It'll be kind of like that, but it'll be a book instead of a cabinet. They'll have plastic sleeves that you'll slide the.
That's what the books in there now have a sleeve, but it's not a sealed sleeve, it's just an open.
Yeah.
They're,
Well, the cabinets they're open sleeves. But the books, they're after they've been photographed and then reproduced on that side of the paper and inserted. And this would be where they can, under the ancient document law, we could file them under the ancient document law, which is 20 years.
there's like 29 cemeteries in Brown County, private cemeteries and family cemeteries and all that.
Well, there's a couple others that have not been acknowledged.
Right. And
Glenn,
Would they fall in?
old Clay Riley, I don't know if y'all know him over there in genealogy. Boy, he's up on these cemeteries. He and I visited a lot of them. But the counties, it's kind of on the hook on some of this stuff. It's hard to make this. And then in 1992, they made surveyors, made us responsible. You know, if we find a graveside or a cemetery, if we don't show it on our survey, then we're held liable for any damages that could be done. And you have to, and I've laid out a lot of cemeteries, or we located a lot of cemeteries, and you have to cut a road to the public road. And the landowner has to, if you say like it's out in the middle of 180 acre tract, the landowner picks a roadway to allow them to get there, and then he has to open it up one day a month, year, one day a year, for anybody to visit those abandoned cemeteries.
We
Now,
do not have to cut a public road to them.
no, it's not a public road, it's.
That's what you said, though.
Yeah.
That we had to make a public road to them.
No.
The county does not have to.
No, I said,
Cut a public
I said a
road.
roadway to a public road. No, you
There
don't,
has to be an easement from the cemetery to a public road.
yes, sir. And, you know, cemeteries, they're not your most high priced piece of ground, but for a lot of people, it's the most valuable piece of ground. And they need to be honored in any way we can. And allowing, and it'll be up to the discretion of each cemetery whether or not they want to bring their paperwork in.
What action needs to be taken today? What are we talking about?
Sir,
I said, what action needs to be taken today? What are we talking about?
to allow, let me see if I can word this, to allow the county clerk to purchase a 11x17 called PAP Record 7. And to allow cemeteries to come in and file their maps without charge.
But I mean, I think that we need to, Dawn doesn't have to come back because I know it can be difficult, but I mean, I think we need to actually vote on that when Sharon's here. 'Cause I think we need to get her input.
All right.
Have you talked to her about that?
Sir,
Have you talked to Sharon about that?
this book?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so,
Before the breakdown in communication, yes, we
So-
talked about it.
so I would say that I think it's a good idea, and I think it's probably something that we need to do, and then we'll take formal action.
You'll put it back on the agenda then?
And you can word it anyway, I mean, you understand what
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're an attorney,
And so, yeah, and well, I mean, I think it's a good idea to have those. They need to be recorded for people to look at. Have you been doing did something happen that caused you to bring this up?
Yeah. Well, this law, Buzz Lost Creek.
Okay.
I'm looking at this perfectly drawn map by a perfectly qualified person. And under the existing rules, he'd have to hire a surveyor, and that'd be, be a $6,000-7,000 survey. There's no need for that.
Right.
I mean, it's encumbered costs that they shouldn't have to bear. And he set little markers. We went out there and I tied them down for him. So I've got state line coordinates on them. So if he brings his plat in, which I'll call him, then we got a place for it, it'll have to be reduced because it's 42 by 42. And I told him we have to reduce it, but he's got the other sections that sure would help to bring those in. But when anybody brings in a new section, I'll be glad to go out free of charge. Go out and tie down two corners, main corners of the development. So it'll have state money coordinates, so whenever Sharon, she's got a book and for cemeteries and she reports to the state. So when it gets reported to the state, we actually got latitude, longitude, latitude on it.
All right, anybody have any?
Yeah, I wanna know what the deal is on Rocky Creek Cemetery.
Well, that's next.
That's
Let's
next.
get this one first.
Yeah, yeah, so I think we're, no, I think we're ready for it. I think you're right.
One thing at a time.
Okay, so page number 2.
Oh, are y'all gonna approve that?
Well, we're gonna put it on the agenda for when Sharon's here,
What's that?
the buying the book.
Oh,
Yeah, so we can go with page 2 now.
all right. So you're looking at, this is Rocky Creek. I was contacted, I don't know how many of y'all know Mona Pitts. Crab Pitts, you do. Anyway, Rocky Creek, they've been through a lot of bad times. And, long story short, all their funds been drained. And they asked her to manage the cemetery. So, and I called you about this prior, and all the indication was that the landowner that surrounds the cemetery, there was an old fence out there, but he knocked that out, and then they put a new fence in. And of course, it'd been surveyed by another surveyor, so I contacted that surveyor. And on the third page, you'll see a copy of his area. So I said, all right, it's very apparent that the landowner is fenced in portions of the cemetery and the church. Now, the big to-do out there is the church and the cemetery separate each other. And that's the reason everybody, I'm not gonna say, but anyway, it drained. So I told him, all right, and I talked to Larry about this. And we were in agreement that they probably need to move their fence. And I said, well, before I do that, I need to make sure I gotta have my ducks in a row. So we go out there and we do a pretty good survey on the whole cemetery and the church area. And then I contacted the other surveyor, and he's gonna sell me his files of that particular area. And then the association has brought in their maps, and they're pretty good shape. So I've got, in addition to the field work and this map that you showed, I've got about another 25 hours of paperwork to do, not counting going on the ground and meet with the landowners. And say, all right, this is what we got. And your deed does not cover these areas. And hopefully that would be the end of it when we meet them on the ground. But the other surveyor had these corner markers, but they obliterated them. And actually, I sent a bill, which will cover the other surveyors, purchase the other surveyors records, and the field work, and about 20 hours. But it won't cover the additional field work, but Mona said that she probably can drag that up. It's just a, organization that's a fence to their convenience and ignored the rights of the cemetery. And we, the county, are kind of on the hook about all that stuff. It's in that, not just in the health code, but it's in the local government code, and it's also in the Vernon statutes. But the county, just like the county, we're responsible for the maintenance on soil conservation lands. After they got built, then we're kind of on the hook for the maintenance of those. And it falls kind of under those same premises.
Well, there's a lot of layers to this thing. First of all, who did this survey?
I did,
No,
Kraft.
And so I guess you've told him that you think he did it wrong?
Oh, no, I didn't, the surveyor didn't do it wrong.
Okay.
He did it right. He sent me his files.
Oh, you're saying that when they went out there and built fence, they didn't build
They
it according to,
ignored.
they ignored the
surveyor's-
surveyor.
He ignored the surveyor's survey. No, if you look at the two maps, they pretty well match up. And of course, he sent me the data because I want to make sure that before I get everybody in turmoil, I want to make sure that he's right and he and I both, we're gonna sit down and talk about it. And he sent me his files, which are pretty extensive.
Is the individual that ignored the surveys not somewhat responsible for,
Were you saying that Mr. Kraft is charging for his file? He's charging you for a copy of the files? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
How much is he
Yeah, see,
charging you? Is that
surveys
standard?
are intellectual property. And, he's charging that.
Oh, I didn't see the
We don't
numbers.
have to give out copies of our surveys to anybody.
So the survey not public record?
No, we do not have a recordation act. Texas does not because of our constitution and because of the way the republic was formed. Now, there are states, north and the north, that every survey done by a surveyor has to be filed a record. But Texas does not have a recordation act. Never has. And so what happens is if the surveyor, when he passes away, if those records are not passed down to another surveyor, well, then they end up in the dumpster. And I can tell you, 3 surveyors in this county alone, that's where those ended up. And the others, I gave possession of those, and I've arranged for my records to go to that surveyor. Hopefully, to perpetuate things.
But once a survey is filed with the county clerk, it's in her records.
The survey's not filed, no.
That's the plat that's filed, not the survey.
Yeah, the actual survey doesn't go anywhere out there. It doesn't leave the title company.
I was gonna say, it just goes to the title company, yeah.
And that's the reason it went straight to the author, which is the other surveyor.
Well, I guess,
And he has a right to sell his product to anybody he wants. Or he can use his discretion and say, well, this is a rat's nest, I don't want to get involved. But in this case, he agrees that this needs to be
well,
done.
I guess the part I'm missing is the survey was done right. The survey's
As far as I
correct.
can tell.
So why do we need to redo the survey if it's done right?
Well, the fences are different at one time. See, he did the survey, okay? And then changed hands based on that survey. And he had a corner on it.
Right.
And there was a fence out there. Well, the new owner went in there and said, well, I don't like that fence there. So they took it out, they straightened it out.
Oh, so what they're wanting you to do is to go in and survey and put where the new fence is.
Now, I'm a survey where the deed goes.
Well, we know where the deed goes because here's the survey,
but the markers may be knocked down?
right?
No, it's changed from that point to mine
How can it change?
because they rebuilt.
Well, I know, but a fence doesn't determine where a deed
Well,
boundary is.
okay, excuse me. And that's where the reason, I purchased his files, so I can check his, we survey, sometimes we disagree about location of things. But in this case, I don't see that we're gonna disagree because 2 heads are better than 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just need to be able to firm up what his resolution came up with that I can back up, because I'm the one on the hook here now. And so once I go out there with him, his survey, his liability goes bye-bye. He doesn't have any liability.
Did you say the property sold? Did you say that the property sold?
Yeah.
Do you know when that happened?
About a year and a half ago.
Would there have been any update filed at that point?
What's that?
would there have been an updated survey or anything filed of record when
Yeah,
that
this-
sale
the
happened?
Survey is in the title company's file.
Okay.
Right.
And so when you're going out there to, I guess you're helping the owner of Rocky Creek,
I'm gonna go
Is-
put the corner down per deed.
and is that in the context of as the county surveyor or as a private surveyor for Rocky Creek?
Contact the new owner.
No, I mean like in what capacity are you going, because you do private surveys, correct?
Oh, I'm doing his county survey.
Okay, that's what I was trying to understand.
Yeah, a private surveyor, doesn't carry as much weight. And if you had two private surveyors, you'd have to have a court hearing and have, and if the landowner doesn't wanna do anything, well, then it'll be up to the association to make the decision what they want to do after that. Until I meet with the landowners, I don't know, I mean, I don't know what the reaction is. I think it's gonna be okay. Because I've dealt with this particular person before.
Big outfit.
Um,
Big outfit.
yeah, yeah,
Big, huge.
yes, but I've done work for them,
Deepest pockets in the county.
yeah,
Some of the deepest pockets.
but I've done work for them, and I did the track next door to this.
And so it sounds to me like the new owners, like what you said, they have a survey where their boundary line, and they just went out there and said, we just, that's not a good place to build a fence. We just want to go over 10 feet, build a fence, or however many feet.
Which one corner, at the northwest corner, which is the top left-hand side, gray area right there, is actually a, watering tank or stock tank that the cemetery used to water the graves. Had a pump on it.
Why are they not responsible in some way for this if they've ignored the surveys?
What's that?
They are.
Says, why are they not responsible for some of these fees if they're the ones that ignored the survey?
What, the cemetery? Yeah.
I'm talking about the landowner that fenced where he wanted.
They are.
The cemetery, but,
They're 100% liable. If they looked it wrong.
Why,
yeah, title insurance only goes at me.
why, if we've already got a survey, do we need Don to go out there and affirm that survey?
I've already done that.
He's already done that. Why does he need to do another?
Are the
Why
corner,
do you need a survey again?
I don't, I'm gonna have to go out there and meet with the people. Well, I've got to set the corners. See,
Did they-
now I purchased the files, so I've got his deeds and lay them back out and say, all right, I agree with you. And then I'll set up a meeting, because I can't climb that 15-foot fence. He's gonna have to do the same. And say, well, I need to set these corners, and then we're gonna talk about what you want to do.
are the markers destroyed? Is that what you're saying? Some of the markers are gone? Okay.
But see, that's the reason the person, the pilot, it's called GPS. And, you can set an atomic bomb out there, but with the GPS coordinates, I can go right back to that other server with his data. He gave me his data. And the church, I hadn't contacted the church yet, but there, as you can see right there, there's a little over an acre, nearly 2 acres, that they took in the church.
So, or did they short the church, or did they, I mean, when they
Yeah,
went
they
in,
shorted the
Yeah, they
church.
took-
they took in the church?
Nearly 2 acres, and then it's, I don't know, you got nearly 2.5 acres on the cemetery. And the plat, their layout, I got, prove up their layout, because I think, according to some testimony, there's some graves outside. They got fenced in.
So this is really this is a dispute between the cemetery and Longspur.
Yeah,
Between the cemetery
And Longspur, that's the Longspur Ranch. You know what it's called, Longspur?
sir.
Longspur, isn't that what it's called? Isn't that right, Tiana? Longspur Ranch?
Yes.
It's a,
Spur long spar.
so that's a dispute between those two parties, and I don't.
And Larry and I talked about this, of course.
Where should we need to bring it forward?
I think that, you know, again, the county, we got some, you know, we got on the hook.
That's what I don't understand.
I don't know why
That's
we're-
what I can, yeah, 'cause there's gonna be some.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
If you read the health code and then multiple, local government codes, I didn't bring those with me. I'm not an attorney.
Yeah.
But I do know our teachings that we, you know, I helped teach a seminar, legal principles, with 4 other guys. And we get together and compare what all the changes are, which we'll get into that later, but there are some changes that have been made. Not on this, on some other stuff. As of September.
Yeah.
Can you, well, I just may need some clarification from you on that, just to understand if
I'm sorry.
I'm concerned about the county getting involved in what sounds to me like a private land dispute. No, I'm just concerned about the county getting involved in that. It sounds like
Well,
it's a
yeah.
private party issue, and if it's not, let me know.
I'm gonna go out as an official capacity of the county, and I'm gonna meet with this guy, and I said, all right, here's your corner. But surveyor's a surveyor, okay? I report the facts, I don't take sides. I say, here it is, your deed corner. And if he doesn't like it, then there's not anything I can do about it. He can tell me to leave, and I'll leave. Because I can't force somebody to do something. And then it'll be up to the association what they want to do. And then, I gotta get them to that point. After that, the decision is there. And I've done this many times on other cemeteries.
And then, the county has paid the fees for that,
Yes,
for other disputes like this?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's been about 10, 15 years, but yeah. There's one up there, and it's still kind of a sore thumb, way up north of the county on the Colorado. The county road got shut off to the south of it, so the only entrance to it. That's where I got involved in that, with that.
Is that near the Flat Rock Crossing, they used to call it up there?
No, it's up close, it's in the northwest part of the county.
Yeah, I know one that's,
Yeah, the Flat Rock, I know about it.
that one's,
And I got involved in that too. And, yeah.
Okay, so anybody have any questions on that issue?
well, it says it's updated, it doesn't say
Yeah.
action.
I have a lot of
more-
questions.
I have more questions than I do answers.
Well, as a surveyor, I always have, entering 2 heads are better than one. I quiz as a surveyor.
My opinion, it means probably nothing, is that I think that I admire you because you're wanting to defend the cemetery and you think that the cemetery doesn't have any money. And so you're trying to take care of them because maybe somebody that's a lot bigger than them is bullying them a little bit.
David and Goliath.
Yeah, and so I admire you for that, but at the same time, I can't figure out why this is a county issue.
Well, if the cemetery that had recently just got drained of everything,
Yeah, and I understand, you're right.
I would.
There was
the first thing I'd ask them, do y'all have any money?
Yeah, well, I will tell you, there was a lawsuit
Yeah.
for that cemetery over an individual plot and where the individual plot was. Because I was one of the attorneys in that case. And I represented the guy for free
Yeah.
through trial,
So you know, or
we went all the way to the Eastland Court of Appeals and I did it completely free for the guy because I felt sorry for him. And so, yeah, I've looked at their maps and I know their maps and I know how bad they are. And I feel sorry for them. I really do. But I just don't know if this is a county issue. And ultimately, and we have to be careful because there's going to be a lot of disputes throughout the county.
no,
No, let me, because if we were not careful, we're going to get involved in boundary disputes, not just on cemeteries, all kinds of boundary disputes all over the county.
Each,
It's not us, it's not our place to fight those.
and I understand what you're saying here, but every tract of land has got a fingerprint.
Yeah.
And and on that fingerprint is an abstract. And each tract has different rules. Now, if it was a landowner arguing over a fence,
That's it,
and
yeah.
the sheriff department knows, I tell them all the time, it's a civil matter.
Well,
You can't, you cannot believe how many jobs I actually went and did, for free charge. I used to tell this court that it cost me right around $10,000 a year to be your county surveyor.
I understand that.
Well, until you got to 22, and now it's about 20,000. Which unfortunately I can't afford it.
Yeah.
I used
Well,
to write it off.
But Fran Kelly has come before us 2 or 3 different times, right? Multiple times over this dispute on North Lake. And it's, somebody this and that, and
Yeah.
they're encroaching and they,
Talking about Sandy Beach.
yeah, right. Well, that's just, what that is that's a dispute between boundaries between two
Which
properties.
I do not get involved in.
I know. Well, but
We shouldn't either.
we shouldn't either. Yeah. And
And I'm like you, Judge, I don't see where becomes a county issue. Even though it is a cemetery, it's still boundary issues between two property owners. And it's not county property. We're not one of the
Disputees.
parties of the dispute. So I don't know where the county should get involved in that other than upholding the survey. The survey's got the surveyor's stamp on it where he's guaranteeing that what he's done is right.
I won't get into that too.
And if you purchase that, then it's now falling to you.
No, doesn't work that way.
Well,
About 4
still,
years-
I don't see where the county should be involved in a property
I probably
dispute of any
I
kind.
probably would not have got involved if I hadn't talked to Larry first. And I don't want to put it back on Larry's back, but you and I talked about, these guys need some defense. And you said, well, if they got a fence in the wrong place, they need to move it.
That's right.
They do.
But that's not our problem. That's two landowners'
But see,
problem.
at that time, I didn't know whether or not they need to move the fence or not, so here we go.
okay, so next on and there's still multiple things you're on the agenda for today. So the next is that you were going to give kind of the history of the department, your office,
Yeah, I can do that, but.
past, present,
I need to
and
resolve this other first.
I don't think.
If you don't wanna
Nothing
do
for
it,
us to resolve.
then no, it's not resolved.
No, he said there's nothing for us to resolve.
Yeah, there is too. Connell Cemetery is a good example.
To what?
What is?
Connell Cemetery, that was a good example. About when
I don't know what that means.
Marlin and bought Connell Cemetery.
Yeah.
And we surveyed and we furnished.
I don't even know what that means. I don't know.
Is
what
that
they
the one
call it.
over on,
Off the Williams Ranch Road.
yeah, I remember, I don't remember what we did. I remember that in dispute, but it was landowner and I don't remember how it all came
And
about.
it falls underneath that local health code, and Clay Riley came in and testified about the health code before we did.
Cemetery you're talking about up there by
At the end of the road, the end of the.
Joe
divot?
Scott's,
Yeah, Joe Scott,
Yeah.
yeah.
Joe Scott's and Roy Dean's and all that.
Yeah, because it's at one point,
Water, all that.
because at one point in time, that was the county.
County owned it.
The county owned it and county
50 years
maintained it,
ago,
and then
yeah.
but we decided,
Shaw helped maintain it for a while.
yeah, and then we decided to give it to them, and so they could take over the,
See, technically, we're responsible for maintenance on all these stuff.
I don't think we are.
No,
I don't think
No,
we're
But
responsible for
nobody forces
maintenance.
our hand.
We have the option what I've always understood of maintaining a road to a cemetery, even though it's not on the county road system, the option.
So, yeah, I think the Commissioners Court is not inclined to get involved in that, Don.
Well,
I would think the encroaching landowner, if they were to go to court, should have to pay all fees, if that's possible, but that's not for me to say. I mean, that's my opinion, but that's just an opinion, that's all it is.
Well, it concerns me for the county to get involved in private disputes. I think that's just gonna open up a whole can of worms and it's gonna get really expensive. And I
The only
don't know,
problem-
and concerning me to if we insert ourselves into it, that's where I think the liability is gonna
That's what I'm
come in.
trying to tell you. We're involved anyway, because I'm gonna walk out there.
Well,
I'm gonna meet with this landowner. And I'm sorry, I don't split two.
What do you mean?
Huh?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I have to wear two hats.
As a private surveyor and as the county surveyor?
Yeah, but
Yes.
it doesn't matter, I mean, the landowner's looking at me and my truck's got county surveyor written all over it. My crew has got shirts with county surveyor on it. I've got, he's not gonna be looking at, hey, you're somebody else, and this is the previous surveyor. He's not gonna come over, which we're gonna get into that.
Well, I think we need to be careful about that. I think we need to be careful about
I do.
wearing that
I
hat
am
representing the
very-
county
I am
and
very
inserting
careful.
ourselves into disputes that aren't things that we should be funding.
I am very careful about that, ma'am, but, the assumption that other people make, I can't help what they assume and what they think. But I'm there. And I'm used by the district court and the county court on many lawsuits, although this, after Steve Ellis, I had represented to me, disputes through the court system. And, you know, I'm the third alternative. You usually have two surveyors, and then I come in and settle the third. But it's hard to separate me, Don King, from being the county surveyor and a private surveyor. Can't do it.
Well, and certainly if the county has some obligation here because it's a cemetery, I'm just not aware of it and I'm not seeing it. So if there is
Well,
something like
shouldn't
that,
have a bar.
let me know. Okay.
Judge, if we need a motion that the county not get involved in landowner disputes, we could do that. And
It's not really an action item, so I'm afraid.
Well,
If we're talking about item B, it's not really
if
an
you
action
don't want to
item.
pay it, this is what, if you don't want to pay it, then I'm gonna have to file on my bond. Because I'm out there as the county surveyor. Because, you know, if I was in full-blown operation like they used to be, I'd just sort the costs. I can't do that anymore. That's reading about 3 or 4 years ago. We got to separate the survey company and the county surveyor office.
that's why the county should never get involved in landowner disputes.
This is not just a landowner. This is a cemetery.
It doesn't matter, they're landowners.
Gary, I'm
It is,
sorry.
I understand,
This is not one landowner. We're talking about a community that's in the ground out there.
I understand the cemetery, Don, but that a cemetery association is the landowner.
No, it's not. There are deeds out there to each one of the graves.
But it's still, it would be setting too big of a
I
precedent
can see where you're at.
for
Just forget.
the county to get involved in it.
And I'll tell you what, just forget the other two. If that's a position you're gonna take, then I need to go home. I'm sorry. But we've done it in the past, we don't wanna do it now. And then we use going forward with any of this other stuff. And you've got lots of problems on this other stuff. But
I don't even-
let them fall where they may.
I don't even know what the other stuff you're referring to.
You'll find out as it happens. I'm gonna tell you right now, a surveyor, I don't know why people think this other surveyor has been out there. Just because I've been on the ground, he has zero liability involved in that job now.
Well, if he did the survey right, he didn't have any liability anyway.
He has liability to show up and testify, he doesn't even have to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think that this is purely a dispute. I think the liability is in the person who built the fences in the wrong
I
place.
said it's a dispute, but the bottom line is, the county's on the hook. And, I mean, just because I didn't produce, the last time I produced a witness and the local government code and the health code. But evidently, everybody's forgotten about that, and that's okay. That's fine.
So do you want to talk about the history of the office?
If we can't get past the cemetery, we're not gonna have a cemetery, but then we used to go on board. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, I think there may be maybe some more clarification, but you might enlighten me on
No,
something I don't know about.
And
I
Mr.
don't
King,
know.
I would love for you to stay and enlighten me in particular on the history of all of this, because I think a lot of the things that you're talking about today happened well before my time, and I mean, I don't want you to get upset. I'm just trying to understand.
I've been the elected county surveyor for over 40 years. There's a lot of water under that bridge.
There's a lot.
I mean, I've got 11 certificates, maybe 12. I think I've got an unexpired term. And then I was appointed the deputy county surveyor before I even got my license. You have to have a license before being elected. So the former county surveyor, Harvey Hickman, matter of fact, I was in Oklahoma, I worked in Brown Reconstruction. And he sent me a postcard, just a postcard. How he found out where I was, I don't know this way. Never did ask him. For me to show up down here and take over his practice. Well, I was on contract with Brown Root. I poured more concrete with Brown Root Construction than there is beside this city limits. And so it took me about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, before I could leave. I was under contract, and then I showed up here. And worked on, at that time, we had to have 3 surveyors. You had to have 3 surveyors sign off. And of course, I'm the 5th generation surveyor.
Did not know that.
So my father, Wayne Graham, Harvey Hickman, I had 5 different surveyors sign off on it. And that just allows you to take the exam. And I understand that a lot of water goes on the bridge, and I wouldn't even flag this up if I didn't think it was just, but y'all choose it's not, and that's okay. I mean,
Well, I think I'm just trying to
understand.
understand it, I think is the main thing. And so where I come from, I'm similar. I'm allowed to have a private family law or whatever practice that doesn't conflict with any of my roles as the county attorney. And I have to be very, very careful about that. But I can't go into a family court and assert myself, well, I'm the county attorney, and impose any kind of liability on the county. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And I'm just trying to understand, and obviously you have a lot more experience of this than anybody in the room. So I'm trying to understand it.
I get hired as county, Don King gets hired because I'm the county surveyor. Now, mainly because of records I have.
But that needs to be separate and apart from any liability that the county needs to be involved in. That's all. I'm just trying to understand it.
Separated. And I don't go out there and say, well, I never push my weight around and say, I'm the county surveyor and this is what we're gonna do. That's not my intent. My intent is to say, go to this landowner and say, look, here's the other surveyor survey. And I happen to agree with it. And I need to get into your place and mark your corner so you can move your fences. And then he doesn't want to do it, well then, I can't make him do it. And I'm not gonna take any action as the county surveyor to go to court or anything to get a JP, get a standing order or whatever, and which I could.
Okay. And what I'm hearing is that it sounds like that's kind of dragging the county into what is probably a private citizen dispute, and I don't know that we need to go down that path, is what it sounds to me like. But
Well, first of all, I wouldn't have done what I did if we haven't done it before in the past. I would not have done it if I hadn't talked to Larry. I would not, and I think I even talked.
But
to
I
Larry.
did not okay you to spend.
I didn't ask you to okay, Larry. I wanted your point of view. And I got it. So 2 and 2 equals 4. And that, you know, all I know is I'm at about $3,800 going with it. And that goes back to, it cost me about $10,000 a year to be your Lexington County server, things like that, I had to store. So I appreciate it. I'll get out of your way. Y'all have a blessed day.
Well, you might should stay. I think we have.
Well, and you were, I'm trying to make the leap. You wanted to address the court on kind of the future of the office.
Yeah, but there's no
But
need
if-
to go into those
But if we're
topics.
not, but so,
If we can't agree on this topic, which is a basic law.
well, maybe we could.
Well,
agree.
that's why that's why I'm gonna go back. You keep saying basic, so I don't really understand the law apparently where that you're quoting, and I don't know, I'm just saying I don't know it.
Well, again,
I don't know the law.
It's called cemetery, where we produced witnesses and the code. at that
Do you
time.
remember about when that was?
Huh?
What year would that
I
have
don't know, probably 10 years ago.
But that wasn't a dispute between boundaries. That was the county, it was a county cemetery,
been?
okay?
Different.
And so we were gonna deed it to someone. Because we no longer
Yeah.
wanted to maintain it. And so we decided to deed a county cemetery to somebody.
It did
And so
have
we-
a boundary.
And so we did a survey so we could deed it.
But it was a county, sir. It was a county
It wasn't a
cemetery,
dispute between land.
which to me was a rarity. I didn't know we had any county surveys
I'm
until.
sorry, but it did have boundary problems.
But the boundary problems wasn't the issue. The issue was we no
No, I
longer.
cured the issues, because I was there.
I know, but the
I'm
issue,
your county surveyor, and I can do certain things that most private surveyors can't.
and so, but that was just, we were deeding that cemetery to someone because
It's in the guidelines of the county surveyor's office. There's certain things I can do that a private surveyor can't. That's okay. No hard feelings. I appreciate it.
all right, thank you.
I wish we could resolve that, but
Well,
but I want to say this one thing.
okay,
I have never had, in 40-some years, I've never had the problems I've seen in the last 2 years. And I hate to tell you, it's because it's coming out of the room.
okay, then tell us the problems you're referring to.
No, sir, I'm not gonna get into that. They'll pop up, and then you can call me up, you know, I've texted you, I've emailed you, I've called you on your personal phone, and I don't get a call, I don't, you know. A bunch of this stuff could have been resolved 3 or 4 months ago. I did the survey back in April. And I don't know why people don't answer emails or phone calls anymore. I know when you see my name, well, there's a problem there, and you don't want to deal with it.
So how could this problem have been fixed in April versus today?
I would not have went and did it.
Okay.
I went and did it based on the past history.
Well, Mr. King, I assume that you're aware of this, but at some point recently, Judge West came to court on your behalf and said that he was representing you and he wanted all the communication needed to go through him, which makes this really hard. But I do think that should be
Surveying is not an
mentioned.
easy profession, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
Surveying is not an easy profession. It's
Oh, I'm
not
sure it's
dangerous.
not.
It's a spider web.
I'm sure it's not, but at least from my perspective, if I have an attorney say, this is now my client and you cannot contact him, that's something that I have to abide by. And I don't know if that Judge Britton, when he was here that day when that happened.
Well, I'll address that issue. I've been on our surveying Association board, 37 years. And I had multiple contacts. And there's not, and including this one. If there's a gray area, I mean, just, if it's just in the gray, I contact not only probably a minimum of 4 surveyors, but I talk to at least 3 or 4 different attorneys.
Mhm.
And before I make an action. So I'm not saying I do everything 100% right, but I have a lot of guidance. from
Yeah,
others.
as you should. And I guess that's just what I want to tell you is I can tell, obviously, that the water under the bridge that you described, you have a huge depth of experience in this that I would love to be able to talk to you about.
And
But
I've
that
done-
has been
I've
kind of
done
shut
that.
down.
And I've done talk to you, and I've sent you a few messages too.
Ooh, I don't know that you have.
Yeah.
I don't think you have. I've been emailing with your attorney as I was instructed to do.
Well,
And so but maybe we can
I got-
clear that
I got-
part
We
up.
got to a point that I had to hire Ray West.
Yes, sir.
Right, you know, these other attorneys told me, you know, Don, they wanted to come up from Houston and San Antonio, and I said, Don, hire somebody locally good. So Ray, the former judge, I had to hire him, that's $750 out.
Well, I would just say that I think that would help with the communication if we could get some clarification from him.
Communicate with me, I wouldn't have to do that. I mean, communication is everything.
But do you understand what I'm saying? You had an attorney come to Commissioner's Court and say to us that communication needs to go to him and not to you, and that makes this difficult. And so I guess I'm just saying when you then say we're not communicating enough, we were instructed not to do that. So maybe we can clarify that. Maybe you could get a hold of him and say we can open these lines back up. I think that would be beneficial for the county, and we're all county elected
My
officials in
office,
this
I'll go to
room.
the cell phone, and all you got-
I've been told not to contact you by your, okay.
Don, we've been told.
We were told not to contact
talk
you.
to you.
By who?
Ray
Your
told us
attorney.
not to talk to you.
It-
I've always told this court, and asked this court, at every budget hearing except for the last couple of years, you know, y'all tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Within the means of the law.
And there's nobody that's discounting what you've done for Brown County. What
Not
you've
at all.
done for Brown County is valuable. And I use you personally, don't I? You have actually, you've surveyed every
I
single.
think I don't have any hard feelings about any of this, because, you know, money's money, but it's not worth
Yeah.
bad things, okay? And,
Art,
but I can't go forward.
I am curious, does county surveyors keep, I guess, you've got a lot of records.
Not as a county surveyor. I do have a set of county surveyor records I rescued from the basement because the dirt dogs had gotten into it. And I filled out affidavits and moved them out of the courthouse. I think the plat records, I could have moved them at that time, but I didn't. Because I don't want to hire somebody, you know, 8 hours a day for somebody to show up, and it's just more convenient for them to come to the courthouse. But I have all records that I've got, the county has copies of. Now, what y'all did with them, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have any idea.
But like the FEMA flood zone, I mean, you know, they came in, they said they're gonna raise the lake 7 feet. And I had to go to NGS in South Carolina, get educated, got to do that. I never sent a bill to the county for that, and I had to, that's a whole different nightmare. But there's so many things, Judge, that, unfortunately, you're not aware of. And, which I wanted to bring up, but, you know, when you get it in my hip pocket, I'm pretty well, and I told everybody that a couple years ago, 3 years ago, that, you know, when you get in my hip pocket, I can't afford it, I'm done. And I'll continue doing what I do, but I'll figure out how to sort this cost, and y'all just do what y'all do, and I'm gonna go do what I'm gonna do. Until you tell me something else. Because bottom line, I wanna do what y'all want to do. But I didn't go out there thinking that, I was gonna have this kind of trouble. Or I wouldn't have done it.
So, but you're saying you don't have any county records off-site in your possession, is that correct?
I've got those original county surveyor record books in my office, that's all.
Okay.
Everything else is private.
And so when new plats are filed, those all just stay with Sharon? Am I understanding? When new subdivision plats are filed, do those just stay with the county clerk?
They're here, yeah.
Okay, you don't have a version of those that you keep
Well, I
separate?
keep a copy, because if you sign it, you keep a copy.
Okay.
Which is saved the county, by the way, on the deterioration of the
Yeah.
records.
Okay, I was thinking there were two versions, I was just making sure I
If you look
understood
for
that.
that extra copy that I had, well, those plat records would be non-legible today.
Okay,
Be like Lampasas
Okay.
County. Some idiot coated the sleeves with Vaseline, thinking they preserved the sleeves.
And it pulled all the,
Y'all
Oh my
remember
goodness.
that?
I didn't know that.
it pulled all the ink off
And
the
he pulled
paper.
all the ink off the maps.
And there were a certain number of plats that were only able to make
What's
it
that?
back to the end of the store.
And I bought, it cost me 20-something thousand, I bought it. I'm gonna be right up front. First of all, I had to go to, down the general land office and go to their archivist and teach me how to preserve a plat or how to restore it. And after we got through doing that, after 4 days of that, they finally said, darn, why are you doing this? And I said, so I said, well, I do have a copy. And so I preserved the record by bringing those copies back in the record.
Well, thanks for talking to me about all this.
Well, I
I
mean-
appreciate it.
You know, I'm sorry that, I'm just a poor boy. I mean, and I would not even done this job if I knew that I was gonna have this kind of problem whatsoever. And I'll know better next time. Thank you. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you, Don.
I'm fine.
Yeah, we need him. Do we grab him?
Yeah.
I feel like he should stay if
He
he will.
can, he can wheel,
But, between you and I,
May I just go ask?
no, I just want to listen.
It's a shame. Let me just go ask if he would stay.
I don't care about that. What I'm gonna do is, I'll follow her past everybody.
You guys stay for the conversation about plans. We were having a conversation. We'd like you to stay.
I follow, I got to support the law. City of Brentwood, I follow everybody. The only one that came up that I didn't follow was one that did recently.
Well, we're just gonna discuss some of the
But I was
issues on that.
under the local government code. I have to follow it.
Okay.
I mean, I have to
I think
follow
the
it.
review, and anyway, we're gonna talk, but I just make sure you knew that was on the discussion and you want to stay, if you don't.
I would resolve that.
Everybody can-
But it's cool.
We'll stay if you want to stay.
No.
Didn't show up.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
after the first one.
Representative Spur
Uh-huh.
and Senator Ingram.
After we have.
That invoice, that's not included in the bills.
What in, the one,
Yeah.
We can sell it.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break.
How long's the break?
I'm just gonna run upstairs.
7.6.
Thanks, guys. I'm not holding you to that.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
This interest comes from all.
This is our CD.
If somebody give him insurance, hey, if somebody give somebody an insured policy, that's it.
Why are you sharp quiet?
I ain't got nothing to say. I don't wanna argue about birth yet.
Well, let me tell you what, I didn't think I'd ever see that. You didn't have anything to say, one way or another.
It wasn't really worth comment as far as I was concerned.
What's that?
Wasn't none of it worth comment as far as I was concerned.
Let me tell you, that tells you a lot. doesn't it?
Yeah.
Don't get y'all.
Hey, that'd be good if I had something to drink to go with it. Yeah.
Let's try some of them cookies. You know, I'll comment on that. That's hard to hear. I didn't see mine. What we got here?
Sure about
Well, don't touch every one of them. Good grief. Weren't raised. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Raised in a barn.
Somebody touched it while he's cooking it.
Maybe. It was that spatula. Sorry, you don't have any coffee. Anybody? I'm sure there's plenty. What, you didn't want the one Larry touched?
Doesn't bother me.
Just bring it to me, pick it up, bring it to me.
No, I'm not doing it.
Oh my God.
Or head. Oh, those are days. What?
Oh, do you want one? Oh, okay. You want me to take that?
Pretty good.
Can you take those up with you? I can. Yep. Two of them? Yeah, I'm gonna take two.
Since you offered something, took a.
Larry touched it.
I don't know if I want that one. There you go.
When they made county surveys, it was for a whole.
You want the other half now?
Yeah, bring it to me, I'm tired of listening to you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
It's already been touched.
Just being polite. No, you don't want it?
Well, I'm not feeling it.
Oh, my gosh.
That's one reason. One reason that
I can't wait for a Monday when you come in and say, oh my gosh, I feel so good
I
today.
would like that one too.
I would.
Oh,
I know.
I said I get in trouble.
I appreciate their thought.
Can I sneak a couple of these for my grandkids that are upstairs?
I think that's good, right?
You got them? Yeah, it's mommy's birthday. And mommy's supposed to come home today. I've had them all weekend.
Oh, wow.
So I said, don't. iPads are at lunch.
There you go.
So,
That's great.
thank you.
No.
What exactly did you want?
I don't know what action, you want to pay him for his time he's got on that. survey stuff. I mean, that was what this item was. I think, pay him for his time he's got involved.
It's the last place.
And I don't know what else he's gonna tell us this year.
That's never get to those things. Well, and that's the thing. No survey.
And I've forgotten if we were told on the contract.
It is.
Do what Ray said.
So Ray told us we should only contact you, and I've really forgotten about that.
Well, the map.
Nothing ever makes sense. When you have a focus like going around a big circle and doing everything. Was it true? That's mine.
I should have. But
But maybe it was busy.
You'll say it.
That's so neat.
We got the right. I don't know that now.
7.6, that's you.
Yes. That's Long Spar.
Spar.
Long Spar.
Okay.
Are y'all going into executive? I guess.
No, I mean, I think we need to talk about this. I think we're on C.
Yeah, we'll go back.
And I wish,
You better-
I wish
I
that-
want you to look good with the camera, I don't be
That's
embarrassed.
pretty good. So, all right, so next we have C, consideration of possible approval of addendum 2, clarification of Brown County flat regulations.
yes, sir, and I had asked Mr. King if he could stay for this conversation. I would have preferred that. But there's been, and I know that maybe some people that are here can help me a little bit with what's gone on that's kind of brought this to light, but there's a paragraph in particular in our regulations that Mr. King did and were approved back in 2002 about his processes. And I think that those need to be separate and apart from subdivision plats that are filed by the municipalities, or City of Brownwood, City of Early. Those go through their different regulatory process. They go through their planning and zoning. They go through their city councils. They have their own private surveyors that don't work for the city, but usually work for the developers, is my understanding. And when those get filed, those have still been going to Mr. King for review and approval by our county surveyor. And I don't think that that's supposed to be happening that way. They have the authority to do their own surveys and their own review process through the municipalities. And so that's what needs to be happening. Those would then get filed with us, but they would not go through that extra process of another review by our county surveyor and would not go through the additional fees of the county surveyor. In order, that applies to plats that are within the city limits. Regarding plats that are filed during the or around the extraterritorial jurisdiction. Those are handled by interlocal agreements. Those have already been in place for many years. The city of Brownwood had an interlocal agreement with us, I believe back in 2002, between Burt Massey and Ray West, saying that we were giving them authority to handle all of those as well. Same thing with the city of Early. I think theirs was more recent, 2015. So I think, but what has happened is Mr. King has, I think, caused some issues between himself and the county clerk, wanting to continue to review those and wanting to continue to collect fees to review those. And I don't think that that's proper. And it is kind of fuzzy on the review procedure that's in our current county regulations. He does specify that when they're within the city limits or within the extraterritorial jurisdiction, they get filed. And then he goes on to talk about reviews on things done in the county. And so I think it intended to be separate, and we just need to make that official. So I would suggest that a motion be made to that effect, just to clarify our county regulations, that when they are filed by the city of Brownwood or the city of Early, they are not going to be then subject to the approval and fees of our county surveyor.
Well, there was some paperwork I think I showed you the other day. Was that some statutes that,
Yes, sir. Mhm.
that were, and I forgot to bring them down today, that I also spoke to that.
Yeah, and that's something I know that Tony Aaron's been wanting to get some clarification on for a while. I know the city of Brownwood is wanting some clarification on it. I think it's just adding more fees and more time to local development. And I know the county never wants to hinder any local development, and there's just no need for it that I'm able to find. So I think that's.
So currently the city of Brownwood and the city of Early are capable of doing their own plat
They do all their own.
approvals. And we're suggesting they would actually come, but they would still pay the filing fee.
Just the filing fee.
The filing fee as normal, but not go through the review process.
Correct. Mhm.
I'm not sure exactly how to word that, but I think that's what.
I think you worded it correctly. And I'll put it in writing after the fact. I think this is one that needs to be.
That's what I was understanding, and that's how I read that statute. That was a state of Texas statute. I don't remember all
It's
that.
from the local government code. There's a
Local
separate
government code.
section.
I forgot to bring it down with me.
Yeah.
And so
There's a-
after reading that, of course, I am no lawyer, but it looks pretty clear to me that it does differentiate between those two.
Yes.
And we just need clarification that we're going to follow that statute.
Yes. And it's put Sharon in particular, I think, well, probably all you guys, in kind of a tough spot of, the city of Brown and the city Early. They're just trying to file what they've already had these done by independent surveyors. They've already gone through planning and zoning. They've already been approved by city council, and it's holding a lot of that stuff up.
Oh,
on
we're
the
going to have to go back and review things that's already been done in the past. It would be, may or
I don't
may not.
think
We're
that we
going to,
can.
we're going to start at this point
It
forward.
needs to start now going forward
We're not going to try to go back and
because it just
argue that
wasn't
again for the
clear.
past things that have already been done. So
No, I don't think it was done. I mean, we have county rules and regulations, and as the commissioners court, y'all can put those in place however y'all see fit. I just think it was kind of a gray area the way it's described in here, and it just caused some confusion. So I think we just need some clarification today.
It's really kind of a hodgepodge of, I don't know if that's the technical term, hodgepodge, but it's a hodgepodge of rules that have been imposed. I mean, we've had a hard time just
Tracking them down.
finding out what's the most recent rule, because they've been instituted, they've been added to, and they've been corrected, and they've been this and that, and so it's really kind of weird. And if you just walked in off the street and went to the clerk's office and said, "What are the rules?"
well, that
It's hard.
applies in many things. We talked about, there were a speed limit thing. We went through that with the speed limits not too long ago, and I hope those stay separate.
so-
The fence in, fence out deal, we had to go back and research that. I mean, it's some of that
So
stuff, how do you find it?
We've tried to track it down.
Yeah, we've been trying to track it down, and then we've also been looking at rewriting, and that's what we're working on, is rewriting the rules once and for all. We've looked at some other counties, how they do it. Some counties are much more involved than other counties, because every county in Texas is different. And so, in some counties, and I'll just use an example, Burnett County or Hood County, they have such a large part of their population is outside city limits. And so they have these very involved rules. Whereas then you've got other counties that the largest concentration of population is within cities, which is that's our county.
Yeah, but we're moving, I think.
Well, I know
We're moving the other way though. I think.
You you jump one chapter ahead of
I'm
mine.
sorry.
No, and that's what I was gonna say is, and so these informal hodgepodge of rules may have worked in the past, but they're not gonna work going forward. And so that's why we need to rewrite our rules, because we're seeing,
Yes.
we're seeing an increase in population outside of city limits.
And
We
coming in,
need a 2024 set of rules to supersede everything that's gone before.
Right. And so I think today what we're doing is kind of a stopgap measure between what we've got and where we're heading, and that is to just do an addendum to our current rules that say that the review process by the county surveyor does not apply to plats that have previously been approved through the City of Early, City of Brownwood approval process.
Yes, exactly.
And so they're exempt from the review process, and all they pay is the filing fee.
Is that a rule? I mean, is that a motion?
Well, no, I was just.
Well, that was kind of-
Yeah.
That's what it
So so just say, I'll make a motion, yeah, that was a motion, yeah, sure.
Second.
Yeah. Now, before we proceed further, though, we need to talk about what that filing fee is.
Yeah, and that's, I kind of, yeah, need
And
Sharon for
that was,
that, but
that was a question I did not know. There was a,
Got it.
yeah,
I have
I've
a
got
copy.
in April of 2019, Judge Lilly signed and it says filing fees of plats, that it's $350. This says $350 per page. It should be just $350, which is $100. $100 goes to the county clerk for cabinet materials and storage. $250 goes to the county surveyor for first and last review. That's the part that doesn't apply. And so, without Sharon being here, I don't know what the filing fee is for those documents. He's got, someone's raising their hand.
Maybe Yolanda to come in, because Yolanda's the one we work with when we're filing the plan.
She's the one that does all the filing.
oh, you want me to go get her?
Tony, could you just tell us? You don't have to go get her.
I can judge, it's per
Yeah,
page.
just somebody, you don't, we
we're not
trust
planning,
you.
we're not gonna change it.
Okay.
When we met with Sharon last time, the last plat that we filed under the new fee schedule that she determined, it was the half sheet, the 18 by 24 was gonna be $100 plus $25 for an additional page if you had an additional one. The large Art D, the 24 by 36 plat was going to be $125. Plus, if you had a second sheet, it was $25 more. That's just the plat fees. And then we have the recording fees after that.
I mean, I would say.
Yeah, that's for him to look over.
No, that was just.
$350,
For him to look over.
but, and then per page. it
We
is
might need to
about
clarify, I don't know that we have an action item to change any of the fees. I mean, we change who they go to, but the current county clerk fees, I don't know if we should change those without an
Yeah,
action.
we're not
The
talking about changing
current
our
county
fee, our
clerk
county
fees,
fees.
just take off the county surveyor ones for today, and then she can, just because I don't think we specified that in our.
Okay.
Just bring out one more question I had was on the plats that we're gonna file now. We do have a signature pane for the county surveyor. Do we take those off now so that Don doesn't have to
Yeah, I
sign
don't think
those?
that, I don't think you need a
Okay.
signature for.
Great.
survey.
What's for the county
That's
clerk?
for anything in the cities.
In the
Right.
cities or in the extra, the
Municipalities.
ETJ, yeah.
Yeah.
Because y'all already, I know, we all know
'Cause
this,
it's gonna
y'all
have-
already have your own surveyors that,
Right.
I know we know that, but just
So
so
you're
we're
gonna have
clear.
a signature for, that
The county
shows,
clerk then?
well, no, you're gonna have something from the city clerk's gonna sign that it was approved, right?
That's the
Yeah.
council.
And your city
Yes.
surveyor or whoever's doing your survey.
Sharon had us put county clerk signature pane instead of the county clerk.
That's fine.
And that's where the volume and page numbers recorded.
That's fine.
We need that still on there, but
Yeah,
there won't
that's-
be
that
like an
needs to be-
additional review approval by the county.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they can put just wipe everything out with volume.
Just the files, yeah.
Okay. And so for purposes of today, we're gonna go with the 125 each additional page.
I would say
This
whatever,
is the larger one. No,
I
no.
think for purposes of today, just keep our county clerk fees that go to the county clerk in place. I just think we need to make that a separate agenda item before we change that. But there won't, the fees that go to the county surveyor are not gonna apply to municipalities.
Okay, so
Nor the
so
signature.
technically, it just for plats from the city of Brownwood and the city of Early, they are exempt from paying the $250 to the county surveyor for review.
And they're exempt from the review entirely.
And his signature also, apparently.
So that everybody understands? And you seconded? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? There's none.
I was just trying to say, I didn't want to mess with changing the fees, the legal fees, what I was interrupted to say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I just, what I don't know is if the code, everything else the county clerk does, from filing deed records to filing, everything she does, her fees are set by statute. And I didn't know if there was
That's where
a.
the 25 comes from. It's the recording fee, so 25 and 4. That's why she
where
says the
that-
100 and then the
okay.
25.
But we already changed that.
Okay, do y'all have anything else?
Just one other thing
Oh,
that,
come on.
and
Oh, my
it's
God.
related to the same thing, but it's about the actual filing of it. There has been some confusion of who assigns the volume and page number.
Yes.
Because who owns the cabinet, which the county owns the cabinet. But I think that may be something that needs to be clarified with Sharon.
With Sharon, right, and I think we've decided that we're gonna go with that separate cabinet 7, isn't that right? We've talked about that.
And that's where the more
That's
shared.
What it was talking about in the cemetery.
No, that him coming up, that was just a Don King idea.
Okay.
Yeah, him saying that book was gonna be volume 7, that, we never did approve that.
Okay.
That was just him talking.
There
And she had-
there was a cabinet purchase,
Yes.
and we had originally paid for that through the county surveyor's budget, and he was not happy with that. And so in today's bills, Sharon's record management reimburses the county surveyor $5,000 that was taken for that cabinet. So there's a new cabinet in there.
And that cabinet's
Those
dedicated.
cabinets are $5,000.
Actually, it was, let me tell you how much this is.
That's the ones that revolve or the, all that stuff.
No, this isn't the big fancy ones. This is just a little metal cabinet that's about that big.
This was one 400 plaque cabinet M with 200 zippered envelopes. With freight, $7,462.71.
The zippered envelopes.
Wow.
No,
But better than Vaseline. We'll take this.
Better than that, yes, but
Better
yeah,
plan.
so just so you know, in today's bills, 5,000 is going from the county clerk's record management and back to the county surveyor. So you didn't feel like that was one of his expenses.
Can I say
Yes.
something before y'all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, please.
I worked for surveyors for 30 years, and I'm gonna tell y'all, Brown County is so far above all the other counties, because I've been to every county around. Even dealing with Don, Brown County, Sharon has really got this.
And who are you?
It's way above. James Hurd.
You're who?
James Hurd. I worked for Pinkston for 30
Okay.
years, so.
I just didn't.
But we've been to all the courthouses around, and none of them compare to Brown County. I
Well,
mean, Sharon has really, really got it. She's come a long way.
Thank you.
That's great to hear.
And, I mean,
What do you think this is gonna make it,
do what?
what we've done today, you think it's gonna make it worse or better?
No, I think it's gonna make it better.
Okay.
I do. I worked for Don a couple of years, but, whole nother story.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your
But,
comment.
but I'm telling y'all, Brown County is so far ahead of all the other counties.
Well, that's a problem a lot of us probably have is I've never seen another county or how they do a lot of things. So my
Yeah, we don't
experience
have
with
a
county
good
business.
perspective
Well, I know that
on
there's
how
this
everybody
only,
does it.
complain
this
about
only,
that
so I don't know how to
stuff, but
compare
there
it.
is good stuff.
Thank you. That's good to hear.
All right, is anybody?
Can I ask a dumb, I have a dumb question.
Yes.
Probably really dumb. Sharon, I mean, why would Don be the one to assign the volume and page number
It's
if
not.
he's not keeping any, but why would that even, was he saying he wanted to do that? Because he said he's not keeping any of these records himself. They're all gonna be here, correct?
You're talking about assigning volume and page for cemeteries or for?
No, for plat records.
Well, I put them in for him a couple of times,
Okay,
and what you do, you go, and when you pull the slide out, what the next slide, and then we give it to Yolanda.
okay.
That's how,
Okay,
I mean, it's in order.
okay.
That's how it is.
Okay. I'm sorry. That's-
Yeah,
It's not really assigned, it's just you use the next
The
one.
next one in place.
Which, and I think that we need to address this, not today, but I don't like the idea of Dawn assigning numbers on plats outside the city limits and Sharon assigning them.
Yeah, that's,
Because it's very systematic, the way you assign stuff, and yet, but now right now, we've got them two different places with two different systems. And so we're gonna need to figure that out, because, you know, there's a system to it, and it's chronological, like by day, and so you're gonna have two different places, two different records, and so we're gonna need to figure that out.
It's like the 911 addressing system that one person does it, and then the Abilene's that's out in Suffolk.
It's separated, right. So we'll work through that. Okay, well, let's just pay bills. Y'all are ready. Right?
Yes, please.
I'm looking at bills. It's kind of abbreviated. That's not too much.
do we need to do an executive session?
7.
We're all tired.
And I take it we don't need an executive session.
Right. Yeah, we're just paying bills and we're. Larry said he's ready to be done. Larry said he's ready to go.
No, whatever.
Jennifer's ready to go.
All right, somebody want to make a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills as presented by the auditor's office, or the auditor.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the payment of bills as prepared by the auditor. All fair side.
Aye.
Any opposed? There is none. So then we are adjourned.
Yeah, Shaw's got his golf cart.
Do you really?